Autumn, creation's golden hour. Leaves turn yellow and red berries start to appear. Unsettled weather, windy days, bright days, a crispness in the air. Recently, I went out for a walk and sketched the view down a Pelurian cove. I just loved the colours starting to change. The oranges and rests against the blue of the sea. I also love seeing the snails and how they climb up the stalks of the old umbellifers, almost looking as if they are part of the plant itself. It's a beautiful time of year, a time when things are changing and unfolding and falling away. I also see it as a time to slow down and take stock. Hi guys, welcome to another video. Welcome to my art studio. It's looking very messy and disorganised at this moment. I've just finished doing an exhibition, and so I'm still trying to sort and tidy up. I've also been filming for a new online course which is going to be based on woodland, and if you want to stick around I will tell you more about that at the end of the video. But the video today is going to be looking at the process of creating pieces for an exhibition. So I started this process back in July and the exhibition finished last week, which was mid-October. So I just wanted to share with you my process, take you along. It's unpolished, the sound quality isn't great, but I'm hoping that it will still give you a good insight into how I created these pieces. So I'll basically show you my process from concept to painting outside, what things I've encountered along the way, and then you'll see the final pieces hung in the gallery space. So maybe pour yourself a cup of tea, get a favourite beverage, get cosy, and let's take you back to July. The Lizard Peninsula has been described as the wildflower box of Britain, and this year has been no exception, as we saw a huge amount of wildflowers coming into bloom earlier this year. As we approach the end of July, most of the early spring flowers have now faded, but the ones that are still standing take on a more dried out appearance and their colours deepen. You get this lovely rich range of golden yellows and of flame reds, rusty oranges, burnet and purple tones. And this is the time of year that I wanted to see if I could capture on paper. Today is the start of something new for me. I am taking a big bag of art supplies down to the coast, just around the corner. And the reason it's different, because you know me, I go out sketching a lot, but it's different because I'm taking big paper sketch pads and I'm going to be attempting to actually paint outside of my sketchbook and see how I get on. I want to take you guys with me and talk through maybe how I'm feeling as I'm doing this. I'm quite nervous actually to begin with, but I'm looking forward to seeing what I actually produce. Here's my bag. It is ridiculously big and a lot bigger than what I normally bring. I have got my rucksack on my back as well, but I'm just bringing my Fabriano watercolour sheets and arches, see how they work. I don't know which one I'll prefer. I've got my seat, but then I've also got in here some Liquitex acrylic. Oh no, Liquitex, yeah, acrylic gouache. I've got some inks, I've got palettes, I've got brushes. It's basically an art kit, oversized art kit, which I'm normally not comfortable with at all, bringing so much stuff, but I'm going to give it a go and see what happens. It's going to be a time of experimental play. The area I'm drawing is on the west of the Lizard Peninsula, not far from the village of Mullion, called Poldhu Cove. You can see in the distance Mounts Bay over towards Penzance, and closer to home the neighbouring coves of Gunwallow and Church Cove. I'm walking down from the Marconi hut and aim to sit just off the coastal path, surrounded by the wildflowers, with views over the sea. I think that's a gatekeeper. The wildflowers around here are all out, and it really is spectacular to see them. And that's the subject that I want to capture today. On my way down, I notice all the purple flowers: bell heather, common knapweed, betony, and bright yellow bunches of ragwort. And we've got hemp agrimony. Just look at that. How beautiful are these golden orange stems of plantain, with the red of the lamb sorrel in the background. The path I'm taking is just above the beach at Poldhu. You can hear the children's squeals and cries of laughter as they play in the water. As I walk down, you can see how full the cliffsides are with a range of wildflowers: wild carrot, yellow loststrife, fleabane, red campion, and lots of hawksbeards' heads dancing in the wind. It's such a beautiful sight. I find a low-standing piece of concrete, a remnant from some building works, and use this as my makeshift table to set out my supplies and start painting the paper. I'm using 2 colours of liquid acrylic, golden sand and warm grey, and with a little bit of water and my brushes, set to work creating the pre-painted pages. Whilst one page is drying, I start work on another one, and I add rubbing alcohol and salt to create textures. I remember feeling quite overwhelmed as I was painting these, not with the painting process in hand, but with the task I had ahead of me, and the thought of trying to capture everything I saw on paper. This doesn't really occur to me when I'm working in my sketchbook, as I know it's just my sketchbook. However, I found as I painted these backgrounds, the more I began to ease into the process and allow my mind to settle. The added bonus with working in the sun is that the pages were drying quite quickly too. Okay, I thought it would be good to give you a little update where I am. This is where I am. I have concentrated, done background, mix of neocolour, acrylic, gouache, obviously the background, pre-painted page. I've just put the brush marks down for the plant life. So I'm just at this point whether I'm wondering whether to leave it or to go on. It's always a tricky point, this. You always wonder, but I really do want to have some colour in the front, but at the same time, because I've got the dark silhouettes, it's pointing you to the background. So I wonder if it will distract. So it's kind of hard to know. maybe I should leave it and then come back to work on another one. Yeah, maybe I'll work on another one. Okay, it is a couple of hours gone by and I thought I'd just share some of the paintings with you. This is the first one. I got stuck halfway through and wasn't quite sure how to continue, but I managed to work it out. I'm quite happy with it. I quite like the dark silhouettes of the plants and the dramatic skies. This is the second one and is a closer view of the wildflowers. I also got stuck on this one as well and definitely had to push through an early ugly phase, and I wasn't sure where to go with it. But I kept going, kept persevering, and I think I'm happy with how they've turned out. I'll probably work on them more in the studio, but I'll definitely show you what I end up with. They've probably taken longer than I thought they would. I probably have spent maybe more time on them than I would if I was just sketching, but then I've got to remember that these are, first of all, these are on a lot bigger paper, on A4, and they are out of my sketchbook, out of my comfort zone, so can't be too hard on myself. And I've got also a lot more material here, a lot more choice, and that definitely slows you down when you're thinking about what to use on the page. So anyway, I'm looking forward to looking at these again when I'm back home out of the sunlight. It has been pretty bright here, pretty sunny most of the time I've been out. So I have been wearing my shades to sketch and then taking them off every so often just so I can see. But yeah, it's been enjoyable. I mean, it's very pleasant outside. I was a bit flustered at the start, but I managed to calm down. This is the mess of the space. Chair, all a bit messy, palette, pencils everywhere. I probably could simplify this. I don't really need everything that I brought, so need to spend some time simplifying, I think. But it's been a good first outing out to sketch out of the sketchbook. Over that week, I returned to the spot several times to capture the view at different times of day. My favourite time was returning in the evening when the sun was beginning to go down and the light made everything glow with a golden hue. Hey everyone, just thought it would be good to share with you what I've done so far outside of my sketchbook, and before I go and take these to be framed or to be mounted, I thought it'd be good to go through and show you what I've been working on. So here are some of the pieces. So this piece was done at a favourite spot of mine on Gadrivi Cove. It was done in the evening and we had taken a picnic, and I just wanted to try and get a feel for the place. The sun was beginning to set and shadows were beginning to be cast on the rocks, and yeah, I just thought I wanted to try and keep things loose. I wanted to kind of use materials that I would use in my sketchbook. So you can see I've used Inktense pencils, I've used a little bit of watercolour here, and also Neocolours. The sea was done with, I think it was Inktense pencil that I've just diluted, and then the sky Neocolour, a tiny little boat there. I would like to do some more I think this is a good start, a beginning, but I would really like to do some more rock sketches. It's such an enjoyable subject for me to do. So here's another little one. Again, it was an evening sketch and we had gone for a picnic. The light was that kind of golden hour light. So the underpainting for this is a little bit more yellowy than this one. This is a bit more browny. But I really, really love this colour for an underpainting. And again, I was just trying to think, I want to keep this loose. I don't want to get too involved with all the details. I want to just capture what I'm seeing as I would if I was in my sketchbook. So I was having this in my head, dialogue, try to keep it loose, try not to overthink or overdo things. Because I think that's what happens when I start thinking of finished pieces or final pieces. I like the looseness of it, and then the sea as well, this colour here, it was so light and clear, and then you had a little bit of reflection from the land. Another thing I like about this piece is the combination of man-made landscape. So like this was part of the quarry, and there's a quarry over this side here, and you can see this is an area that was built up, and then the quarry part of the land had been quarried around here, and then all the greenery had like grown over it again. And that's, I really found quite interesting. I just really enjoyed sketching that, and including like little man-made things like this little, I think it was iron or something here, metal sticking out like a T. And then you've got a little life saver here. And then along the wall they had old tyres hung. I just enjoyed the contrast of the man-made stuff and then the natural environment around it. There are some birds as well. And again, this sky, it wasn't just plain, it was moving, and I wanted to capture that as well. These next two sketches I did inside in the studio here, basing them off a picture that I took. I was using the Liquitex acrylic gouache. Can't remember which one I did first, but I think I may have done them both at the same time, so I was working on both of them. So similarly, you can see the composition is quite similar with a few alterations, and what I really like was actually the darkness here, so making sure I had a lot of contrast with the darkness of the cliffs, and then coming over with some textures on top. Also kept the colour palette very simple, so you can see they work really well together. And again, it was evening time when I took the pictures, and something about that time that I think is really special and gives you these golden colours that you see in the landscape. So yeah, I really enjoy doing these. And then we have the larger pieces, which I shared with you, creating on location and then finishing off here. So this was the really wildflower, coastal flower landscape painting. This was created with all sorts of media, just beginning with the acrylic gouache and then layering over with neocolours, pencils, also using my brush pen. And yeah, there was just so much in this. And it was quite hard to know when to stop, actually. And perhaps I have gone further than I would have with it, but I still think there's elements in here that I really like. And it'll be interesting to see how it looks when it's framed. I'm thinking I might just crop it a little bit more and bring it in a bit. I think that'll be really fun to see. I like the contrast though between this really noisy, tangled wildflower part, and then you've got the sea, which is a lot smoother and calmer. I'll show you this piece. This piece was the other piece that I was working on at the same time when I was out on location with doing the wildflowers. And yeah, you've seen this at different parts. So this is the finished piece. I am really quite happy with it. I think it's got a nice balance. I really like the sky, and then also these lighter areas in the landscape, like that colour there. And then the wildflowers, trying to capture the chaos of the wildflowers, but still getting some structure there. So I've got like the umbellifer heads, you can see them clearly. And then the mix of different wildflowers that are mixing around there, that are growing around there. There's so much colour, so much variety, and sometimes it's really hard to know how much detail to put in, but I feel this piece was enough detail. And then the final piece, again, a very similar composition. And this one I did back in the studio and basically wanted to pull on some of the ideas that I did in that previous painting. So I started with like my black brush pen, outlining the wildflowers, and you can see I've been a bit more deliberate and not as messy, or just trying to distinguish this time the different wildflowers. I've also added a few little butterflies as well. And then also I changed the colour of the sea. I went for more of an indigo blue, darker blue sea, and then gradually getting lighter up here. And I think it just gives a different feel to the piece. So those are all the pieces that I've done so far outside of my sketchbook, and I am going to be taking them to the framers because I need to get them framed before the exhibition. It'll be really interesting to see how they look, and I'll hopefully share some of that footage with you and you can see. I'm also pleased to say that my zine number 3 is ready, and what is handy about this zine is that I can take it out with me and just flick through some of the pages just to remind me of what kind of things I've done before, like this piece here I really love. So it'd be great to have that in my sketching bag kit with me, maybe along with the other 2 zines, and just remind me of things that I like, and then I can bring that into the pieces as well as I go. Hi guys, I am just up at Million Cove, just above, looking for a spot to sketch and do some painting. So it's a beautiful morning. It is feeling a lot more autumnal today. It's about the middle of September. I had hoped to come up here sooner when the heather was a little bit more purple, but there are still some purple flecks around, so I remembered what it looked like. So hopefully I can capture some of what I see here today. So it's going to be interesting. So I'm just looking around for a spot to sit and sketch. So here's what I've got. I brought my Ranger sketchbook, I've got my Sendak roll, I've got Neocolours in the tins, and I've got a couple of liquid acrylic inks, salt, alcohol, watercolours, brushes, and one of my zines, and some pre-painted smaller pages. see how I get on. That's the view. I love this spot here. You can just see the stacks down below with a bit of water in between. And then you've got this foreground. This would have been all a lot more brilliant purple just a few weeks ago. So I'm going to think about that as I'm sketching it, and it may come in. But it's just lovely to be able to sketch it here, out in the open. Thought I'd show you. Started with some watercolour and some shapes, and then I've started putting in mixed media on top. What I find incredible is how the light is just changing. Hey guys, I just wanted to jump on here really quick. So the lighting isn't great and I'm not mic'd up, so I'm hoping you can hear. But I just am preparing for my exhibition, which is gonna be starting very, very soon. I had some pieces that I was thinking of just mounting up, and I just had this idea. I just wasn't happy with how they were looking, and so I thought I'm going to just cut it up and see what happens, and I'm really excited. So I've cut like the background. I found another piece of pre-prepared paper. I've started playing around. I've cut up like the sea that was on the piece, and yeah, this little flower that is an orchid. I cut it up and I think it works, or it looks much nicer kind of in this arrangement, so that you can see that's like the original drawing that I've just cut up. And then this piece as well, I like some of it, but this I don't like this bit, and I'm thinking I want to cut up a piece that I can stick on top of this, and I was thinking maybe even having some other bits just to make it a bit more interesting and more textural. So I'm just using a pre-cut frame, and this really helps me to see the composition really well, and yeah, it's really nice actually to work in this way. I've got like my imagery, but I've just collaging it and just playing around with different shapes, so I think this might be quite exciting. So you can see I'm going to have some pieces basically that aren't going to be framed, but they're going to be mounted. So these that's what I'm doing right now. I'm using also a bit of washi tape just to hold them in place, and then fix them with special framing tape which I got given from my framer. So I'm just working my way through a little pile. Here's another one. So these will be then wrapped in cellophane, and they will have also a board on the back, just be a way to exhibit them nicely. Without having to frame them up. Then people can decide what colour frames they want. But yeah, I just picked up my frames from the picture framer and I'll give you a quick look at those. This is Wildflowers End of Summer. Wildflowers of Summer. This is also Wildflowers. Gadrivi, Paul's Houstock Fishing Spot, and Lizard View. So here we are. Welcome to our nature-inspired joint exhibition at Coast Colour Canvas Gallery, Roskillie Farm.
Oh, how easy it's to forget. Still thinking about how we met. Yeah, I'm with you now.
My artist friend Crixus and I hired the whole gallery for a week and filled it with framed originals, prints, postcards, greetings cards, calendars and zines.
And there I was with my world falling apart, hoping just to get by. Without knowing it, I played it by heart, and now
We also ran workshops throughout the week with a focus on landscape, birds, and on the final day we ran a joint session taking inspiration from the farm itself, our main subjects being pigs, goats, turnips and trees. We welcome visitors from near and far, including some of you who watch us here on YouTube. We just want to say a massive thank you to everyone who came and visited and said hello.
like the wind blowing through your hair. Oh, I'm with you now.
And here are the finished paintings, finally framed and hung on the wall.
Thinking about the good times that we had. They will never come back again, but I'm happy as can be. And now I'm thinking, come what may.
And so it's now time to close the doors
When I'm with you now.
and return back to the studio.
Through the autumn and the winter snow, keep telling all the friends we know that I'm with you now.
Here we are back in the studio, and I just want to say thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed that look behind the scenes and process of me sharing, creating those art pieces. If you're interested in any of those pieces, you'd like to purchase them or just want to inquire a bit more about them, then I have now posted them on my website. I'll put the address on the screen and I'll put the link in the description below. I can ship them anywhere in the world, but you just need to get in touch if you want them shipped outside of the UK, because the price at the moment includes just shipping to the UK. So just let me know. I'd love to hear your thoughts anyway on what piece maybe was your favourite. It'd be really great to hear. And so I've got one more thing to share with you, and that is my new online course, which is called the Wild Woodland Advent Calendar course. It's all based on looking at woodlands and creatures, plants, fungi, birds that live in the woodlands. And this is the final piece that you would create from the course. It's an advent calendar with 24 windows, and then behind each window is one of the creatures that you would have sketched, illustrated, studied. I have made a trailer and I will share that with you now. This season, join me for a fun, festive, illustrative project. I'll be showing you how I capture a range of woodland flora and fauna using a mix of mediums to produce a beautifully illustrated advent calendar. On this course, you'll have the opportunity to explore the diverse wildlife that inhabits woodlands. Split into 5 areas, we'll look at coniferous and deciduous trees, plants, fungi and seeds, woodland mammals, woodland birds, insects, moths, butterflies and bees. You'll begin by gathering the materials you'll need to get started, followed by learning about the plan for the calendar layout and theme, and I'll share the colour palettes and illustration style I intend to use. Taking a closer look at each area, you'll create an attractive sketchbook spread for each one. Then from these initial sketches, we'll plan where each illustration will go, and you'll be well equipped to start illustrating the final window artwork using a seasonal colour palette. We'll finish by numbering and assembling the calendar, ready to hang and use by the 1st of December. By the end of this project, you will have a beautifully illustrated advent calendar showcasing various woodland animals, birds, insects and plants. You'll also have a collection of sketchbook spreads filled with a variety of woodland wildlife, trees and plants. So whether you simply want a cosy project to work on through the colder, darker evenings, or create a one-of-a-kind, heartwarming calendar for your friends or family to open through December, I know you'll gain a lot from this woodland-inspired course. I hope this sounds of interest to you and gets you excited for the season ahead. If you like the sound of that, I've put a link in the description. You just have to pay a one-off fee and then you enroll straight away on the course. You can access all of the videos and you can get going on it. If you watched right to this point, then I just want to say thank you so much. It really is appreciated. I'll end this video just with some footage, recent footage that I took on a woodland walk where I discovered some mushrooms. So I hope you're well, guys, and I'll speak to you again.